Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your Captain Definition, and this video we're breaking down the third episode of Picard. Our mission is to boldly go where no one has gone before and give our thoughts on the new entry as well as what could be happening in the future. Throughout this video we'll be discussing the ins and outs of the third episode's plot, its Easter eggs and what we thought of it as a whole. We will be engaging with heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't had a chance to catch the show yet and don't want to know what happens, then I highly suggest that you turn off now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for videos on Picard every week, and with that out of the way, let's get into our breakdown of Picard Episode 3. Okay, so just a quick recap of Picard Episode 2. After the death of Data's daughter Dahj, Picard made it his mission to track down her twin sister Soji. Picard wanted to set out into the stars to locate her, however, not only was he diagnosed with Irremotic syndrome, an Alzheimer's-like disease, he was also declared unfit for space travel and grounded by Starfleet. The episode ended with us discovering that there was a Romulan mole within Starfleet, and Picard had to call on an old friend to get off the planet. Episode 3, The End is the Beginning, is pretty much centered around this notion, and Picard exemplifies this statement in many ways. The end of his career with Starfleet was pretty much the beginning of a new direction, and this is mirrored throughout many characters in the entry. There's a real phoenix rising from the ashes motif in episode 3, and though it is pretty much one big info dump, I did still enjoy it. I'll say right off the bat that this is probably my least favourite of the three so far because it seems to be dragging its heels, but you can tell that going forward everything put in place here will pay off. The end of this episode is very much the beginning, you could say, and yeah, you don't come here for the jokes really, do you? Anyway, we once more open with a flashback to the synthetic uprising on Mars. As we learned last week, this was carried out on First Contact Day, and the date was purposely picked to ruin any goodwill that the Federation had towards the holiday. We did theorize that last time something was uploaded to the droid F8, aka Fate, who started off the attack, and in the introduction we can clearly see code being added into his programming. I did slow this down to see if there were any hidden messages in it, but unfortunately it was just the usual camel case lettering and semicolons and colons that come with computer-based languages. So no, there was no execute order from the Romulans, at least that we know about. I'll get into my fan theory on that in just a bit though. We then jump to Starfleet headquarters 14 years ago to see Picard and one of the new characters in the episode meeting. This is Raffi, who we learn was his former first officer on the USS Verity. Due to Picard's resignation, Raffi ended up losing her career too, and she's carried a lot of resentment over it for the past decade and a half. The intro opens up how much the burning of Mars destabilized the galaxy and sort of gave Starfleet the excuse to not evacuate the Romulans. In the new canon prequel comic book Star Trek Picard Countdown, we learn that before the attack on Mars, Picard and his new ship the Verity were asked to evacuate 10,000 Romulans. However, upon arriving there, he and Raffi were taken hostage by the Romulan government, and they discovered that there were actually 5 million inhabitants on the planet that needed to be removed. They learned that the Romulans only wanted their own people taken off the world in the wave of the supernova, and of course Picard protested this. The two defeated the evil Romulan leaders and returned to Earth with the news of the incoming disaster. This kickstarted the events that led up to the show, and that should be you all fully up to speed. Starfleet on the whole has often been painted out as this perfect system, but Picard is really dismantling that notion. Patrick Stewart in the run-up to the show did say he took on the project because he believed it to be tackling the current world we live in the wake of Brexit and Donald Trump's presidency. This opening definitely hammers that home, with the government being more interested about looking after themselves than being open to helping other people who may end up immigrating to Earth. I don't want to get too political because I don't believe that either side has it fully figured out, but Star Trek has always tackled ideas like this, and obviously Picard would be no different. We jump to the Vasquez Rocks in the present and see Picard breaking down what's happened so far in the series. Just show her the videos, Picard, I've got your back. Admiral Clancy is mentioned from episode 2, and it's clear that Raffi had run-ins with her as well. Raffi has pretty much stepped away from the prestige of Starfleet and now lives in the desert by herself. She still wears an army-type cap, but there's very much a feeling of a self-sustained militia to her rather than a government-sanctioned body. I kinda got flashbacks of Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 from her outfit, and there's very much a feeling that she's exiled herself. From here we journey back to the Borg cube and are reintroduced to Hugh. If you watch The Next Generation, you may remember that he was a former Borg drone that Picard and the crew met in the show. Hugh was critically injured during the episode and taken back to the Enterprise D, where he was cut off from the collective. The character never knew what it was to be like this, away from the hive. Through the crew he learned that humans did not want to be assimilated, which contradicted what he'd been told. He was given his name instead of his previous number, 2368, and developed his own individuality. We learn that he has been working aboard the station and mentoring Soji. Soji is adept at talking to the Nameless, and this is due to her machine abilities, which he is currently still unaware of. We learn that the Borg had been assimilating Romulans, and it is possible that she has been brought in to learn about their past and hidden mythology. Sorry, I hate that word. Through knowing that Romulans had a false door traditionally in their homes, she is sort of able to gain entry by bypassing the false front that the Mystic character puts on. We learn that they are trying to create a sort of shared religion to unite everyone, and I'll get into this later in the recap. Back on Earth, Picard confirms one of Raffi's conspiracy theories, that is, the Tal Shiar and Starfleet must be working together in order for the former to operate. It's also here that we get confirmation of the theory that the Romulans sabotaged their own rescue and allowed the attack on Mars to go ahead in order to create a false flag attack. We still don't know why this was carried out, however, it is possible that we were told this last week by Clancy. If you cast your mind back, Clancy did tell Picard that there were 14 systems thinking of leaving the Federation. This was over the refugee crisis due to the effort they would have to put into rescuing the Romulans. We do know the synth uprising gave them the perfect excuse not to help the Romulans, and thus they remained. We didn't hear anything extra after this conversation about the systems leaving, so it's a safe bet to assume that they stayed. We do know that the Romulans hate synthetics, and perhaps they hacked into them in order to make the rest of the galaxy join them in banning the androids. The fact that their planet was on the brink of destruction during this would give them the perfect alibi, and personally, I believe that's what happened. Before we get into the rest of the video, I just want to let you know we're giving away a free copy of Dr. Sleep to one random subscriber. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts on Picard in the comments section below. The winner's going to be chosen at random on the 15th of February, and the set will be shipped out from then to whoever gets the prize, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. Anyway, Picard finally has a ship, and he meets Captain Rios, who seems a bit messed up. Rios has a hologram that is sort of the voice in his head, and I don't know why he doesn't just have him out there getting stabbed instead. Maybe you can't leave the ship or something. Obvious. Yeah, I'm Captain Obvious over here. Anyway, Picard sees that Rios is reading The Tragic Sense of Life. This is a philosophical book that has gained a lot of prominence over the years and is seen as one of the knowledge bases of civilization due to its importance. The book states that if one were to live an eternal life, then life itself would become meaningless, thus death gives us purpose. This could be mirrored in Picard, who, as we know, is living on borrowed time. I guess you could say, learning that his life was about to end gave it a new beginning. The like button's right there, thank you very much. Similar to Picard, Rios has been cast aside by Starfleet and forgotten about. However, old habits die hard, and Rios clearly has had difficulty leaving it all behind and still keeps everything in order. Rios clearly admired the captain, but after the death of his own several years prior, he doesn't want to potentially lead to another one going off into the great beyond. Picard gives a really touching monologue on Chateau Picard and realises that he never belonged there, it's amongst the cosmos that is his home. The Jacques Vache show up looking to assassinate Picard, but luckily for him, they're no match for a guy pushing 80 and his mates. Dr. Agnes 2 shows up out of the blue to save them, and it is possible that she was aware of this attack and put in as a plant by the Federation. We do see Commodore O from last time talking to her at one point in the episode, so this is definitely possible. Though she divulges all of this to Picard, it could be a double bluff to win his trust. Though I do think she would switch sides eventually to join him, should it come down to it. That's my theory on the character's true intentions here. The Romulan mystic remembers Soji from tomorrow and says that they've met before. We learn that she was on the last ship ever assimilated by the cube, but something went wrong. Now, it could be possible that Romda did not meet Soji, but rather Dahj. The episode ends with us learning that Dahj and Soji have been labelled as destroyers, and that the Jacques Vache disintegrate upon uttering this. It is possible that due to Soji being the meld between synthetics and organics, that she is seen as the destruction of pure life in the galaxy. Obviously, the Romulans hate synthetics, so they would see this as being a destroyer of their way of life. That's just my theory, but make sure you leave yours below. Soji speaks to her mother, who is clearly a Romulan hologram, and she tells her that Dahj is okay. The Romulans have clearly manipulated this entire thing, and we see the bad boys' sister and brother team up meet up at the end. Also, is it just me that finds it funny that you can sneak into Starfleet by trimming your eyebrows and changing your ears? No, just me. Anyway, it's clear that the easy way is wearing thin, and that they will be more forceful soon, so hopefully we will get their endgame before too long. The episode ends with Picard and the group heading to Free Cloud to track down Bruce Maddox. Raffi has discovered this, and it is possible that this could be where the nest of synthetics are. We did hear last episode that there was a secret location of synths, and with Maddox heading out into the galaxy to create a new data, it is possible that this is the location. The episode ends with Picard saying engage, and the Next Generation theme playing, and yeah, I did get a bit teary-eyed and some goosebumps, and nostalgia, it always gets to you. Those were the days. Clearly they are recruiting new members of the team next time, and though I did feel like this episode was a bit slower, I am still fully on board with it. I'm surprised Picard is getting as much hate as it is, because I'm massively enjoying it, and hey, hopefully you're liking the recaps too. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode, so let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video then please give it a thumbs up, and make sure you check out our breakdown from last week if you missed it. We've now analysed the first 3 episodes, so if you want a quick catch up or missed anything, then that's the playlist to watch. If you want to support the channel from as little as 99 cents a month, then please click the join button below. You get access to content early and can also suggest new videos and breakdowns, and we massively appreciate it. If you want to come chat to us after the show, either follow us at DefinitionYT or click the Discord link in the description below. Those are the best ways to keep up to date with all the news on the channel, so hopefully we see you over there very soon. This is a channel for people who are never missing television, so if that's the kind of thing you like, you need to subscribe to Definition. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.